up next on the MARR Army Rock Show. We've had, and I don't remember honestly if it was Mark or not, because it's been years, but we had Daylight Robbery on our show several years ago. They're out of Birmingham in the UK. Their latest record is entitled The Enemy Within. It's available right now. Mark Carlton, guitarist and vocalist, is with us. Mark, welcome to the show.
Hey man, how you doing?
Hey, we're doing great, and as I mentioned, it's been a few years since we had you on the show, so I mentioned The Enemy Within. Take us on a little bit of a journey about the making of that record and the trip it's been for you.
Right, okay, yeah, it's been, I mean, we had the last album before this was called Falling Back to Earth. I think that came out in 2014. And since then, that was a very successful album for us. You know, it won a lot of awards. It got us on loads of tours. It got us on loads of good gigs and good dates. And before we knew it, we realised that, oh God, hang on, guys, it's been like 5 years before we'd written a new song or anything like that, because something new was always coming along. There was a gig we had to do or some dates we had to prepare for, and it constantly got in the way of writing new material. So we made a conscious effort. Oh God, it must have been. When's it going to be now? About 2018 to start getting the songs together. Then we hit a bit of a patch, and our singer decided to leave, and then our keyboard player left. So it's like, oh God, this is good, you know. So we managed to pull in a couple of a new keyboard player, and then myself and the bass player. We're singers anyway, so we just thought, well, we won't get a new singer, we'll crack on and do it ourselves. So that's what we did. So that's why this one took a little bit longer than we would have first thought. We've gone for a slightly heavier sound than the other albums, not quite so AOR. But it's all good, man. It's had great reviews. It's had a lot of airplay. The tracks we've had 3 singles off it now. So we've had Digital Preacher. We've had I can't remember the name of the second one now. Digital Preacher.
I'll tell you what, I was going to ask you about one of them.
House of Pain. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about one of them right now. So, and you just hit the other one I was going to ask you about. So let's start with one of them there. Let's start with Waiting for Tomorrow. Now, tell me a little bit about that song, first of all.
It's a bit of a we've gone for a bit more of a heavier sound, and we wanted to still stick to some of the epic style that we've tried to go for in the past. And it's just that usual thing, isn't it, where you always think that the key thing in any song really is the chorus. So, you know, you're trying to focus on your melodies, make sure that they're big enough, but also get the song a little bit heavier, which is kind of a contradiction in terms, isn't it? You're trying to play heavier music with bigger melodies, but it just seemed to work okay. We wanted to do an epic kind of midsection and guitar solo thing, so there's a dual keyboard solo and guitar solo playing all these arpeggios everywhere into a guitar solo, back out into a big chorus again. So yeah, we just tried to make it I guess going with our influences, which is kind of, you know, Van Halen was a huge influence, but Dream Theater and all that sort of thing. So yeah, it's just pulling them all in from everywhere, pulling in all the ideas and trying to create a song out of it.
Now, there's a music video out there I was looking at this morning, and it was a kind of a performance music video. I was thinking as watching it must have felt strange for you guys, because you probably, I'm assuming you haven't performed in a while, and then to record a live video.
Man, last year, I'll tell you, every single date cancelled. You know, the album came out in, I think it was early August it came out, and obviously you have a load of dates to do straight from there. Every single one of them cancelled, you know, big festivals, dates all over the place, doing your own headline shows, supporting other bands and this, that and the other. And all of them cancelled. So it's like, oh Christ, what can we do now? So, you know, we thought, well, the logical thing to do is, you know, we had access to a couple of good venues. They said we could film a performance video down there, so we did that, all socially distanced, etc.
Did it feel strange being up there on stage like that?
Yeah, weird. when you're playing and you're trying to perform to essentially a sound engineer on their own, and they're like, you know, 30 yards back from the stage or whatever, it's not the best. And you're trying to get that kind of vibe going and trying to make it look as live as possible. But I don't know. It looks okay.
It came out nice. You guys did a good job on it. I just kept thinking about you while I was watching, saying it must be strange for them. So
it is a strange one, dude. Yeah. Really
another song we just kind of hit on a little bit that I'm going to highlight on the show tonight, so I'd like to ask you about, is House of Pain. Tell me a little bit about that tune.
That's a song that we actually actually we had with our old singer that we'd already written that one. We'd actually already trialled it at a few shows and whatever. We used to open with it, and we didn't really like the chorus of it, so we kind of redid it, restructured it, re-recorded it, and and just because it's got that like 80s vibe about it, that 80s rock feel to it, we thought, well, okay, so let's do it about a night out that we had on that went a bit wrong, and we all decided to have a boys' night out at a lap dancing bar, and all this sort of thing, and it went a bit wrong. The whole night went a bit pear-shaped. So we decided to just turn the lyrics in a jokey way into the model of that song. So yeah, it was quite good. But we shan't go into any more of the detail as to actually what happened on that night. But
we'll use our imagination as we listen to the song.
Yeah, we're not allowed to go up there again. But it was good fun.
So, hey, I really loved the album cover work, the artwork, like you don't see much about artwork anymore these days because everybody just puts out, digital, but like it's kind of this apocalyptic man with his face melting and all that. Does it represent anything, or is it just a cool picture that you guys liked?
It's we're the same. We look at a lot of artwork now and we thought, it kind of all looks similar. It all looks fairly digitized and computer graphics and this, that, and the other, which is cool. But we wanted to do something a bit different, and we wanted to rebrand away from the previous stuff that we'd done because we've gone for a slightly heavier sound. We didn't want that kind of AOR look about things, so we kind of moved away from that. And with the content matter of some of the album, with songs like Digital Preacher. Which are, they're kind of loosely based on conspiracy theory and this, that, and the other. We thought, well, let's go for that sort of image where, it is, you never know with what you're talking about or who you're talking to. It always feels like there's an enemy within. So, and that's the kind of image that we went for. So you're looking at this guy from the side, but underneath is like an alter ego, if you like, that's in there. So that's where the idea came from.
Cool album artwork there for folks to get a chance to go check that out. Look at them on Facebook or wherever you find digital stuff. You can see it out there. So I am not a musician, although I listen to music nonstop with doing what I do here. And I've never asked the band this, guys. You guys do a lot of harmonies and a lot of cool harmonies. And tell me what that looks like in the studio, because I've watched bands record, but I've never seen a band how do you write harmonies? Are they basically chords, or what does it look like?
You kind of hear the bits that need a harmony, and I've learned a lot of this stuff from our bass player, who's well into all these harmonies, and he picks them out so quickly, and you learn the tricks that taking it to the nth degree. You're looking at Queen and bands like that really orchestrate all of the backing vocals, and you try and do a similar thing, but it's funny when you're trying to record them and you're doing it one layer at a time.
Oh, yeah.
And so you get your main vocal, and then you harmonise to the main vocal, and then two of you record that to get the different frequencies, then two of you record the one underneath that to get those frequencies, and then eventually you're going up, and then you're coming above them, and eventually you're trying to do them as falsetto, so that's really high, And when you hear those tracks individually in the studio, oh God, it just sounds awful. But you know that when you've blended it together, you sit there and you've got the engineer there going and he's mixing this stuff, and you're just in stitches because it sounds so funny. Yeah, it's almost like cartoon rock music,
I'm glad I asked you about it there, because you've described how complicated it is, and people listen to that and hear it, and it sounds so good. And I wish more bands would do it, to be honest. And yet, you just described how complex it really is. It seems so simple to just the observer.
Yeah, it's because when you hear it, when it's all mixed down, it's just there, isn't it? And you don't really realise that sitting behind that, there's sometimes 10 or 15 overdubs of different harmonies, all squashed together to give it that sound. But we try not to go too overboard with it. So we just like to have it just sitting there in the background, because it really enhances the song, enhances the melody,
sure does,
and it helps you to pick up. One thing we haven't done, which we're going to start writing, is we've never explored that kind of Alice in Chains type harmony, where they used to come down and sing an under harmony rather than over harmony. And that's something we want to explore next time around.
So, I've been following your music for a while, but I don't know your musical history, like before Daylight Robbery. So, like, what was your musical upbringing? Were you in other bands that would surprise us, or do you have a different history musically?
God, when I was a kid, I hadn't been playing guitar very long at all, and I joined a band that were fairly well known around Birmingham, and I know they had a record deal in the States and this, that, and the other, which was a band called Briar. So it's BRIAR, and they did quite well. And before I joined, they played at Hammersmith Apollo, and I think they supported Striper and things like that down there. I joined those guys, but with regards to growing up, my dad grew up and used to play with the guys from Black Sabbath.
Oh wow! Now there's some music.
Yeah, so and he still says now, and then ironically. We played at the last Black Sabbath show at the Birmingham Arena, the NEC Arena. We played there, and my dad was saying, when you see Tony, make sure you tell him that he still owes me an amp from back in the day, and I want my amp back, this, that, and the other. But to be fair, the security was so tight there. We've played, arenas a few times, but that night the security was so tight that you couldn't get near them. Everyone was partitioned off, and you never even got to speak to anybody. But but in the past, we've played with Whitesnake at the arenas, and sat chatting with Tommy Aldridge. I think we were told off by Red Beach, their one guitarist, because we took a photo of them sound checking. So yeah, he wasn't very happy about that. But no, it's all good fun, man. Yeah, it's all good.
So, I like to get to know the people a little bit behind it, and you kind of gave us a little bit of this, but like one of the bands that I love that has, I guess maybe a little similar style, even a huge Taiketo fan, and it has that kind of melodic rock stuff. What do you listen to when you're listening to music? Like, do you still gravitate to like the melodic rock, or you kind of alluded to maybe some other things in your free time that maybe you're listening to? Yeah.
I listen to, I'm struggling to. My favourite band of all time is Van Halen. It is, but I'm struggling to listen to them at the moment because of Ed passing and whatever. It's hard to listen to them at the minute. But a lot of melodic stuff. There's a band I've just discovered from. I think they're from Sweden called Evergrey.
Oh yeah,
who I've just found. Yeah, and I've not heard them before. And I heard a track and I thought I like that. So and no, it was actually a guitar. There was a guitar that I really liked. So I thought it's a signature guitar. And I thought, well, I've never heard of that guy before. Let's track down who he is and whatever. Found out he was the guitarist in Evergrey. Had to listen to them. But bloody hell, they're good. And they're like really heavy riffs. But the melodies are so good in the choruses and the pre-choruses and the way they structure the songs. So yeah, I'm listening to a lot of those guys at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, the Swedes tend towards the heavier stuff, but yeah, occasionally they come out with something a little more melodic, right?
Yeah. Their choruses are superb, but yeah, anything melodic. I mean, Taiketo. I don't think Taiketo will ever beat "Forever Young" as a song.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such an amazing tune.
No doubt.
And we played with. Was it Danny Vaughan or Taiketo? I think it was Taiketo at a big Hard Rock Hell festival over a few years ago. Yeah. And again, you bump into these guys, and unfortunately, they're always excellent. They're always excellent. They're always really friendly. Everyone's always really, really cool. So, because it'd be, disappointing if you met these guys and they were, assholes or whatever. But they never seem to be, Even Ingve, I've met Ingve a couple of times, and he's always been cool. He's always been really funny, to be honest. But yeah.
So all good. I know you guys got a lot of music out there now, but I'd be hesitant to not bring up a song I still listen to all the time. It's an old song. It's Between the Lines, and it's a mellow tune and a ballad, but I'm just curious, was it a big song for you guys?
Like idiots, we never put that one out as a single. And we noticed that somebody had asked us permission to put it out on their own YouTube channel. And it's had 50,000 views on it and whatever. And I think, shit, we should have. Why didn't we pick that one? And looking back on it, I mean, it's a bit of it could almost be from a film score or something like that, couldn't it? It's got that kind of vibe. But it was a weird one. It started off as a completely different thing. It started off as a guitar idea. And then the keyboard player happened to play it on the keyboards, and we thought, whoa, hang on a second, that sounds miles better on the keyboard than it does on the guitar. So let's take the guitar away that'll just play clean chords over it and whatever. And it's one of those that just grew in the studio really more than anything else. It wasn't something that was really written as we were going through the writing process.
Yeah, it's way down the end of that last record and just kind of hidden in there.
Yeah,
and I don't know how I discovered it, but I guess just listening to the whole album. And
it kind of hits you from left field a little bit because it's so different to all the other tracks that are on there. It's almost ambient, isn't it?
Yeah, I almost feel, you know what it reminds me of? I almost feel a little bit of Styx, the band Styx in that song. It has a little of that to it.
Yeah, and it was funny because in the studio, our drummer at the time, Chris, he didn't want to have that kind of snare sound. So he got his hi-hats and he put his hi-hats on the snare drum and played the snare drum with brushes. Wooden brushes. Yeah. And that's how he got that kind of sequencer sound. Because we've been accused, people have said, why are you using a sequencer there? It's like, well, no, it isn't what it is. It's the hi-hats on the drums and he's playing them with brushes, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Well,
but it's a good tune. It is a good tune.
Well, hey, man, listen, I've had a good time talking to you. I had a 15 minutes flew by. I looked down there. So we've had Mark Carlton with us. He's guitarist and vocalist of Birmingham, UK band Daylight Robbery, their album, The Enemy Within. You can pick it up in the States right now online, and I'm sure globally as well in all the digital outlets, correct?
Yeah, it's everywhere pretty much, yeah.
So, man, Mark, thanks so much for being here with us. We appreciate it.
No worries, man. I'll speak to you soon, dude.